my home city. Now being out west is also home for me. So yeah, I'm out west, and getting a lot done, especially these days as I'm getting ready to tour again. I haven't been actually touring internationally for a while now, and I'm getting ready to tour again to some big cities in the U.S. Of course, for safety, especially at such a time as this, I never post my concert dates publicly, never share about them publicly. But those who know, there's some big cities I'm going to be visiting out all over North America, all over the U.S. actually, and North America too. And getting ready for that, my team that I brought on board is working as well, and so many other things are happening, so many other projects on the go. And now it's Erev Shabbat, and just as I was getting ready to practice and just to get ready for the night and for tomorrow for Shabbat, I felt like I had to release this video to you, even though I wasn't planning to. But there's just no perfect time to talk about something so important of what's going on right now, and and the signs of the times and all that. So I have a few notes, but I won't go through all my notes because this may need a few videos, and I just want to go through the information I have for now, and just get it to you, bless you, prepare you for what's going on, equip you as well, especially that, as I shared in the previous video, the Lord has given me a revelation of what's going on at this time 21 months ago. So I feel especially that I received that revelation, from 21 months ago, I feel responsible to talk more about that. So just a moment here, I was in another part of the city earlier today. And so what is really happening now is, many of you can see, of course, it's a real spiritual war. I mean, it's beyond being a physical war in Israel. It's a spiritual war. The Lord showed me 20 to 21 months ago, that the Gog and Magog war will unfold in early 2024. And I couldn't believe it when I received the revelation, because when I received the revelation, I studied it more. I studied those scriptures of Ezekiel 38. I mean, I realize not everybody who is hearing my message, which is intended to be private, by the way, this is not intended to go viral in any way. But I realize that even people who hear me through private messages may not know the scriptures, may not know Yeshua, may not know Jesus, so you may not know what I'm referring to. But the Ezekiel 38 prophecy is one that has not been fulfilled yet. And it refers to the war to come, the Gog and Magog war. And, unfortunately, this just has to happen to take place, because it's prophesied and the word of God is true. It's not going to be mocked. Of course, we have to be aware that all prophecies are in part. So we don't know everything through the prophecies. And even people who get all the revelations from the Lord, the few who do, don't have all the answers. But it fascinated me when I got that prophecy, and I immediately started studying, what does it all mean? What is this war all about? And immediately discovered the puzzle pieces that Iran, part of Russia, some army from Russia, whichever army that would be, Iran, Syria, Turkey, would be involved in attacking Israel. And because they hate God. The root of it is a spiritual problem, just to be clear. It's not, they hate God, they hate the people of God, and so they're conspiring against the people of God, just like Haman did back in the day. You know what happened to Haman. He got annihilated himself, but they hate God, so then they hate the people of God. There's not a reason for that. So what we're seeing now, of course, is a war between good and evil, between love and hate, between truth and lies, between those who work for God and those who work for the demons. And Israel, I could be honest, of course, many people in Israel are sinful people. They don't know the things of God. But as a nation, Israel is the bride of the Lord. It's a nation of God. It's the chosen people as a nation. So anybody that messes with the nation of Israel is really at war with God. And it's a losing war, because God is, to put in perspective, he's 1 billion times greater than we can imagine. So just imagine that he owns the whole universe and all the planets and all the galaxies. He's still 1 billion times greater than that. So we don't know how great God is. And to fight with God, you understand, that's a losing idea. But the enemies don't see it that way. So unfortunately, we need to then understand, unfortunately for them, they're not going to make it under such hate. And this is why Israel is fighting these enemies, these terrorists, to resolve this. They get to the root of the problem, because they cannot survive knowing that on any Shabbat, while they're trying to rest, some terrorists can come in and do what happened on October 7th, which was like a modern-day Holocaust day. Another thing I want to emphasize through the prophecies, so this is all leading to the Gog and Magog battle. And there's so much deception going on there because many Christians, especially the evangelists, the famous ministries, the famous worship leaders, they're all trying to say Jesus is coming back tomorrow, possibly. But we got to understand the timeline of things, Just like if a person is, doing things correctly and in order and they bought a condo somewhere in a big city like Toronto or Calgary, and the builder tells you the building will be ready in 5 years. It's a process. You'll get your condo if you have all the funds only in 5 years. So there's a timeline. So similar in the word, there's a timeline. Yeshua is scheduled to return on the right timeline. God is in control of the universe, but he has a timeline. So right now we're approaching the Gog and Magog war. It cannot be any more evident than that. There's the current war going on, and we need to pray for Israel, for the peace and safety of them. Remember, prophecy is in part, and we cannot predict every detail. And also we need to pray for the safety of all the innocents, for all the innocents, even innocents in all these Arab countries and places. Unfortunately, many in Gaza are pro-Hamas, and they've made it clear through their protests and demonstrations of hate. Many in Gaza hate Israel, but there's still the 1%, I'm sure, in Gaza of people who are actually believers, and they're keeping it secret, and they're praying for Israel. So just pray for the safety of all the innocents and the soldiers, because, as I said, prophecy is in part, and we don't want any soldiers to lose their lives who have such a valuable life. In fact, there's many things we can do at this time, and anybody who believes this is the days of Jacob trouble, this is a false. The Jacob trouble happened during the time of the Holocaust, leading up to the Holocaust, where a third of the Jewish people perished. This is not Jacob trouble now. That's why there's a big saying to never again means now. In other words, we have to stop this hatred. This is just hatred that's been going on around campuses in North America. Boggles my mind that in Canadian campuses, even students are fighting pro-Hamas. These students don't realize that if Hamas was near them, Hamas would kill all of them, even as they're cheering for Hamas. Just makes no sense. But people have been brainwashed. This is also the battle of the Generation Z, because Generation Z can either believe the truth or the lies, and they can be brainwashed to be pro-Hamas, pro-terrorism, or they can be for God. And even then, many Gen Z who believe in God don't understand Israel. So it's a complicated thing, and you got to pray for Gen Z, that young generation of people who are like 20, 21 years old, and they're big time involved in these protests, for example, but they don't know what they're doing. So pray for them. They're lost. Many of them are lost. But this is not the days of Jacob trouble. That's why we need to stand against hate, against evil, and fight it with all our power, through social media, through our prayers. One way, of course, is giving. In my own ministry right now, with my team, beyond traveling pretty much the world, I'm buying plane tickets now for all those cities. But beyond that, I'm planning to rent a famous concert hall in early 2024 and do an event to bring together Jewish and Persian people. The last one I did there was mostly for secular Jewish people. This time I want to bring secular Jewish and Persian people together. I have a Persian pastor ready to preach, a Jewish rabbi, and myself, and I'm looking to put this event together. This is just one of my projects. It will take about $5,000 US to do this properly, but this is just one of my projects, and I'm helping Israel in any way I can right now as well. So of course, if you want to stand with me with what I'm doing, just know that I'm greatly involved in Israel and giving back to Israel. In fact, I just recently ordered this T-shirt which came in the mail, and not to in any way to show off, God forbid, not for that purpose, but I got this T-shirt from Israel as a way to support one ministry that's in the front lines there, and I'm just so pleased that I got this T-shirt. Of course, the price of it was more like making a donation to this ministry. It's not, it's not about that, but it just feels so good. Even if I'm paying triple, quadruple what a T-shirt would cost here, it says hi here, and I love this T-shirt. It reminds us the value of life. It says life and it says hi in Hebrew, and just feels so good to support different ministries in Israel, different soldiers, and people that I'm supporting, and will continue to support with some of your help toward my own ministry. But this is a time to know that we can do something about it. If you're not doing anything that's not right, we can do something. We can help Israel. We can donate. We can give. We can pray. But definitely pray against all this evil. The Gog and Magog, unfortunately, is unfolding because now Russia has been speaking against Israel on many news articles. Israel is even speaking against Russia publicly. I think the Israeli, some of their spokespeople said that Russia will pay for this and Russia will pay the price. This is all leading to this war. The Russia coalition with Iran, Syria. Now, I know some people who don't know Bible prophecy may think, well, these are big countries. Beyond Hamas terrorists, these are big countries. How will Israel handle them? Well, we don't know all the details, but Israel is scheduled to win this war. In fact, to such a point that every soldier that goes against Israel will be annihilated, according to the word. This is not me saying this is according to the word and the scholars. Every armed soldier that goes against Israeli army will not be around. I mean, there's not going to be escape for them. So the Lord, it means business. Going against Israel is going against God. Even though I admit that there's so many sinful people in Israel, there's even terrorists who live in Israel who pretend to be, just citizens. But going against Israel as a nation is a losing proposition, and it's a huge mistake. As far as timing of things, many people are promoting deceptions. There's people who say he's returning tomorrow. Like I said, there's a timeline. The Gog-Magog war will lead to the anti-Messiah. I'll talk about it in future videos. The anti-Messiah will, of course, pretend to be a friend at first, and this will lead to 3.5 years of peace. And again, if you take each day at a time, as the Lord commands in the Bible, one day at a time, 86,000 seconds at a time, and just stay in the moment, in the present moment, where His presence is, when the days will come of that peace, Israel will have to enjoy that peace for what it is. I mean, after the Gog-Magog war, God willing, Israel wins as is scheduled, as is predicted and prophesied, with the help of some nations, as we see already, US, Germany, France are all standing for Israel. This is also becoming very obvious. But when that victory takes place, there will be the 3.5 years of peace, perhaps fake peace, but still peace. So if you take one day at a time, take it for what it is. And so this is where we know the timeline of things. We know that the Messiah is expected to return in about 7.5 to 8 years from now. Not tomorrow, not next week, but in about 8 years from now. The real final battle that many are talking about of his return is the Armageddon battle. It's not the Gog and Magog war. And you'll see deceptions all over social media that he's, even by Christian evangelists, saying he's returning tomorrow, this is it. This is not it. That's why we need to keep preaching the gospel, keep going to your services, keep, supporting, the ministries you support. Don't promote doom and gloom. That is not helpful at all. I believe the economy will thrive and do great in time, and that the economy will reach peaks that we've not seen before. So this is not an economical problem. This is a spiritual problem. And it's all to do with hate versus, the forces of hate versus the forces of love, the forces of Satan versus God. That's the problem. So if you're promoting doom and gloom, you're part of the problem. But we can all do our part to help. Like I've been supporting Israeli ministries around the clock, even earlier today, supporting in Sderot, a ministry that helps those affected by all this terrorism in the front lines. Sderot is by the Gaza border. And so we need to do our part to help, helping and sowing and giving and speaking up against evil if you can. Speak against it. If you have a platform, definitely speak against evil. I'm very proud of Yusef, the son of Hamas, who is a born-again Christian, who has been speaking against this evil and giving more insights. I mean, this man is a hero, and he's speaking the truth. And he says what I say, that this is a fight against God. This is these people, including the protesters who are protesting pro-Hamas, are fighting against God. They are part of the evil armies in one way or another. But this is a timeline, and I'll do more videos to talk about what the Lord showed me about the 3.5 years of peace, about the anti-Messiah. I'll just drop you a hint, since you've been probably watching this video now, and on this Erev Shabbat that I'm recording, that I do believe the anti-Messiah will be Erdogan, the president of Turkey. But it's yet to be seen, because overall the anti-Messiah is the spirit of radical Islam, of course, and many Muslim people even are against this spirit. We're talking about radical Islam. This is the anti-Messiah spirit that wants to dominate the world. But I believe Erdogan, as they call him, is that anti-Messiah character. That's yet to be seen. This, again, prophecy is in part, but he's a very, very tricky character. But this way, I want you to know the timeline, so nobody deceives you. So, we have to live for God at every moment, but I don't want anybody to deceive you that this is the Armageddon battle. Armageddon is scheduled to be in 7.5 years from now. And so indeed, he's coming soon. But if you take one day at a time, just focus on the moments and on doing the work of God, supporting and making a difference. Talk to you soon. Thank you also for your support. And continue praying for Israel, for God, for God's purposes to prevail, for all the innocent people. And for those who are deceived, to come to repentance, to come back to faith, including many believers who are promoting hate. And I've discovered believers through my social media platforms, the different platforms I have. I discovered believers who are anti-Israel, who believe that Jewish people are from the Church of Satan. I mean, it's like like, they're totally misunderstanding scriptures, completely getting into the wrong scriptures and misunderstanding, the ultra-Orthodox versus believers versus just secular Jewish people. There's so much to know. But until then, do good, make a difference, keep supporting, keep praying. Okay, talk to you soon, and stand for the things of God. Amen.